Hello and welcome to the Arsenal Therapy Podcast. This is the 15-minute show. I'm your host. I'm Adam Keys, and today I am joined by Farhan. How are you doing, mate?
Good morning, Adam. Very good to be here with you. Another transfer day, another bunch of targets to talk about. So, yeah, really happy to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got quite a few stories to go through today. Obviously, we've got Liverpool coming up at the weekend as well. So I will bring up some slides to talk through. So this is something we've been working on to make the show a bit more engaging for you guys, to make it clear what we're talking about. The first story of the day is one that drew quite a lot of controversy yesterday, which was Arsenal's complaint to the PGMOL about Saka's rough treatment. Now, this is one, I don't know if you've looked much into it, Farhan, but basically, this is the ultimate clickbait headline, and it's dragged everyone from football Twitter to TalkSport in. And the story itself was one that is based on absolutely nothing, and it was actually part of a wider discussion with the PGMOL, with every club involved, about kind of refereeing in general, what the clubs feel needs to be done. But of course, it was also months ago, and Arsenal are off the back of two defeats. Twitter's in a whirlwind, and this headline's picked out. So just give me your thoughts on why you think that we're being targeted so much with this stuff right now. And I think Man United are another club that do get this kind of thing regularly, and we've got two of the biggest fan bases in the country. But right now, why do you think Arsenal are the club that are just being attacked more than anyone from the media?
Uh, well, I don't know. There might be a number of different reasons. I think the main one is Mikel Arteta. I think just the reputation that Arsenal have in the past season or two, celebration police and touchline madness, all of these things have a part to play in building this narrative. Doesn't surprise me anymore because of how unfairly we've been treated in the mainstream media, particularly outlets like Talk Sport. So yeah, I think at this point Arsenal fans can gloss over this and shrug their shoulders in a way to kind
Yeah,
of just
absolutely.
just yeah, accept it. Well, it is what it is. Things aren't really going to change. Maybe in a few years the media will have another club to pick on. It doesn't really have. I don't think it has any impact on the players or the manager, or it has an impact on the performance on the pitch. I think if anything, this should help to fuel us. I mean, you think back last season when Man City were well, the news came out of those 115 charges, that spurred them on. It
Yeah, absolutely.
galvanized them, as a club. So I'm hoping that Arteta, Arsenal, everyone associated with the club can use this as fuel to get one back on, get one up on the media by performing on the pitch and getting back on top, so to speak.
Yeah, 100%. And it seems Arsenal do actually have a point here as well. And it's so Opta Joe put out a great tweet yesterday, and it's the most cards drawn in the Premier League this season. So fouls won in bracket. So if you look, Raheem Sterling has drawn 14 cards for 31 fouls. By contrast, Saka has only drawn 7 cards for 43. And this stat is something that we do have to take with a pinch of salt, because it's the fouls themselves. You don't actually know the level of aggression, the intensity of the foul, and so on. Because we've seen the likes of the Brighton game when Milner went through Saka a couple of times and didn't get booked, and one of them was a pretty heavy foul.
Yeah.
Even at the weekend, if you look at Calvin Bassey, I feel that it's not just Saka in our team that can be hit pretty hard without being fouled. Nketiah was taken out by Bassey on the halfway line, a free kick given. I feel if that was the other way around, we would have received a yellow card for that. And I think that foul would have had a big impact on Bassey's game for the rest of the afternoon, but it wasn't given as a yellow. But I think Arsenal absolutely have a point, and I've seen Chelsea fans say Hazard used to get this treatment every week. It's like he did. No one's denying that. That's why the bloke retired at 31 and could hardly walk by the time he was 29. And it's like, just because someone else got it doesn't mean it's right. And this is the thing we need to get away from. As a football club, Arsenal have seen Diaby, Eduardo, and Ramsey all suffer terrible leg breaks in 3 consecutive seasons. And we shouldn't be saying, oh, Arsenal had that before. Man United should put up with leg breaks. That's not how it works. We need refereeing standards to improve. We need our wingers to be protected. And because the reality is, people watch football because of entertainers in the game. They don't watch it because of thuggish fullbacks that can take a man out. That's not why people watch football. So ultimately, the more protection that these players can get, the better. But moving on to some transfer news. So this is a story that refuses to go away. It's come from Sam Dean, who we know is pretty reliable. He's got his finger very much on the pulse when it comes to Arsenal. But Jorrell Hato is a player from Ajax, 17-year-old centre-back, can play centre-back and left-back. And this one is very much a market opportunity for Arsenal. This kid's incredibly talented, has been captain in Ajax a lot this season, and he's someone that has 18 months left on his contract. So it seems that Arsenal would have ideally liked to have waited longer to bring a player like this to the club in the way we did with Timber. But with 18 months left on his deal and at 17, he will qualify as a homegrown player if we can bring him in this summer. So he's a pretty tall player. He's around 6 foot at 17. There's a chance he can continue to grow. I know I certainly grew another 4 inches after I was 17. And a player like him could end up kind of 6'2", depending on his growth and so on. We've seen it with Smith Rowe and Saka as well. But give me your thoughts on this, because being linked to a 17-year-old, something that a lot of people kind of panic about and say Arsenal are past this point. But we've seen 17-year-olds before, Wayne Rooney, Kylian Mbappe, and so on. These freakish talents that break through. Cesc Fabregas is another one, that it kind of doesn't matter what age they are. And the fact he's captain in Ajax already, playing in the Champions League for them and so on, this is clearly a guy with talent. So just give me your thoughts on what you think this means and what you think it means for Jakub Kiwior.
Okay. Well, look, first things first, he made his debut at 16. So that says something. You know, the kid's clearly got some talent if he's able to make a debut at 16, and not only that, maintain his position. He's played 15 or 16 times already for Ajax this season, captaining them as well. And he's a tall lad. He's strong. Supposedly, you know, according to reports, he's a quick defender, dominant in the air. Physically, you know, he's built. He looks quite big and aggressive as well. His stature. So you can usually tell, or you can try and make assumptions of a player's qualities by looking at them. And so the eye test, if you want to believe, or if you want to go by that, suggests that he could be a real talent. And if there's anywhere that a young player wants to go in order to develop their career, it's at Arsenal.
Ajax.
Fine, it's at Ajax. Fine, yeah.
And
yeah,
Arsenal.
yeah. Slightly tongue-in-cheek, yeah, Ajax. But, you know, over the last few years, you look at players like Emile Smith-Rowe, Bukayo Saka, Martinelli, you know, the whole squad practically under 26. You know, the majority of the really good top elite players coming through at Arsenal have been developing themselves over the last few years under Mikel Arteta. So, yeah, I'm really excited for this one. And I think if we can just manage, number one, if the move happens, because I know Ajax are quite keen to tie him down on a long-term deal. And if Arsenal are able to swoop in, bring him in, you know, as it says there, summer move is understood to be more likely, then we need to map out the next few years. If that means sending him out on loan for a few seasons, fine, so be it. But it will be, yeah, it will be one of those projects where we will need to manage it very, very carefully. I'm very much for the idea of developing young players. I mean, look at Man City signing that bloke from River Plate. No one's ever heard of him, and you know, all of a sudden everyone is kind of looking at the South American market because City are able to, look ahead of the curve. And it's the same thing here with Arsenal, just picking out the gems as we have done many a time, under Arsene Wenger, going into League 1 or the second division of the French league and just picking out gems. So this is a very promising move, and if Arsenal can make it happen, it will be something that I'm sure, will welcome.
Yeah, this is one I don't see him going on loan if he comes in. I very much see Kivior leaving the club in the summer. I think he's someone that has got a lot of interest from Italy. I'm just judging by his body language. I do wonder how much he has settled in England, and he's someone I I just wonder if he's going to want that move to play a bit more regularly. But at the same time, this could be a move for a player that comes in to be Zinchenko's replacement, natural left-footed, and I think he's someone that's ready to play. I like the idea of doing it in the summer. For me, bringing him away from Ajax mid-season at 17 years old in the middle of a title race, that's something that can kind of disrupt a player's development. So I like this being a summer move. But the next story, we're going to have to be quick with these ones. Crystal Palace have genuine interest in Eddie Nketiah. This came from Ben Jacobs, who Ben Jacobs is, I would say, somewhat reliable, somewhat unreliable, but this has since been verified by David Ornstein. So the question is, if say a 30 million bid came in for Eddie Nketiah, do you accept? Do you sell him at this time, or do you hold on until the summer, given that we don't have a replacement for him right now, and the potential of signing one is probably fairly low?
Yeah, well, Palace have had an interest in him for a while now, and it looks like they might come in for an official bid. And if they do, great. I think Arsenal should take it. If you're asking me personally, I think we should take it, because if we want to be serious about contending for a title this season, we need to get moving Nketiah on and bring someone in ASAP. Lots of strikers doing the rounds, and judging by the summer that we had, it seems like the club are very serious and ambitious about staking a claim for the title. And if that's to be believed, then we need to go in for a striker this Jan. I don't see why we can't. Deals can be made. It can happen. It just means you have to pay above the odds, or just hope to have some really good connections.
I think the big thing with Arsenal is FFP. So selling Nketiah will be pure profit on the FFP profit sheet, because he's an academy player, which is how Chelsea are getting away with spending so much, because they've got a phenomenal academy that's literally churns out talent year after year. And so selling Nketiah would allow us to potentially put down a fairly large lump sum payment in the first transaction for a striker. But we do have to be mindful of FFP, and everyone any reliable journalist has said, look, Arsenal will have to get creative with the Dinsley Mech. So next up, this came through last night, and this has been making the rounds for a few weeks now. But there was a few people reported this after Fraser last night, and it's Arsenal have interest in Amadou Onana. He's a player that I do like. He's someone that he's got the profile and build of a 6. He doesn't have the discipline of a 6, so he doesn't sit. He's a player that likes to get the ball. He's a carrier, and he's 6'5". He's a big boy. He can pass, but he's not a line breaker yet. He's someone, if you look at his passing, he's not scared to make adventurous passes, but he is playing on a side that predominantly play a low block. So give me your thoughts on Onana. He would cost a lot of money. I could see this being potentially one that we would do if the money was available, with the intention of moving on Partey in the summer.
Yeah, look, he's 22 years old. He's still very, very young. I've always rated Onana highly. Whenever watching Everton, he's always stuck out like a sore thumb, and he has similar traits to our very own Declan Rice as well. In the sense that he's imposing, he's dominant in midfield. He wants to always get on the ball. He always wants to be involved in and around the play. So I'm I welcome a move for Onana. I do like the idea of seeing an Onana and Rice partnership. And if you look at his stats, pretty good. 85% of accurate passes per game, and as well as his defensive stats as well. He dribbles on the ball. His dribbles this season has been 54%. I don't
which is
know.
pretty good.
Yeah, okay, fine. So, judging by Adam, our stat man, that's pretty good. So, the numbers so far tell us that he's having a pretty good season. Everton having a pretty good season, considering the fact that they were docked 10 points. And if you look at his heat map as well, he's here, there, everywhere. So,
Yeah,
and that's
he's a
something that Arsenal
traditional
need.
box-to-box midfielder. I would like someone a bit more technical, which is why I think he's someone that if we could do it this month, we look at a Zubamendi or someone in the summer and that bit more technically gifted footballer to sit in beside him. But next up, this is one that's been doing the rounds for a while. I don't see this happening in January if it happens, but we have had fairly long-term interest in Diomande of Sporting. You probably remember him when we played them last season. Lovely ball playing centre back, big lad, and he's someone that I think could play alongside Saliba, but he is more of a right-sided centre back as it is. It would all depend on cost with this, but if you're going to add a player with a lot of talent, he's someone that's got it. The question is how much he would actually play because of the fact we've got William Saliba. And that is the big question. We know Mikel doesn't love to rotate in the way Pep does. So this is one I think, let's see where this goes. He's going to the AFCON and we just have to take it with a pinch of salt right now. So moving on to the Liverpool game. So just very quickly going to wrap up here. So Kaya Kanyak put out some pretty disappointing news, which is that Tomiyasu is flying to the Asia Cup today. So that means he won't be available for the game. And with Zincenko out, it means the likelihood is that Jakub Kiwior is going to have to start at left back. We are very stretched at the back, which is why a left back appears to be our top target this window, which I think is a wise move. If we get the right kind of fullback in, I think it opens up a lot across the pitch and it reduces the chances of someone like Declan Rice or Thomas Partey when he returns having to drop into the back line. Finally, the slide hasn't shown up, but I was going to say we will be playing in all white tomorrow, and it's obviously the No More Red campaign. But just finally, give me your prediction on what you expect to see in 30 seconds.
On Sunday.
On Sunday, yes.
Okay. Physical game. It will be played at a high tempo. A number of key players missing from both sides, so it'll be interesting to see how that impacts. Liverpool without Salah and Arsenal without a competent left back. So I think it'll be tight. It'll be difficult to give a prediction, but if I had to give one, I'd say 1-0 Arsenal.
Sounds good. That's kind of what I'm thinking. A tighter game, no Salah. And we have to be pumped up for this. I think Mikel's going to be really on them on the training ground. Big opportunity for everyone. So let's hope that you're right on 1-0 Arsenal. So thank you to everyone that's joined us this morning. Please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Have a great weekend. And hopefully it's a 1-0 Arsenal win. Thanks, guys.